Hey guys, welcome back or welcome to my channel. I'm super excited for today's video because I'm going to be giving you guys a tour of my first year of university student halls room. I just finished my first year at King's College London, and the accom that I stayed at was the Scape owned Canada Water building. So this was all being built when I first booked it, and Canada Water wasn't even an option for me when I first looked at the King's residence page. My first choice was Atlas in Vauxhall, but that was fully booked by the time I came around to booking it in like May or June of 2022. So I looked at the photos of Canada Water and I thought these prototypes look quite modern and nice, so I'll give it a go. But I was really taking a chance on booking something which was A, still being built, and B, I couldn't actually go see in person until I had to move in. But it was the best decision, and I am just so in love with my room, my flats, the building in general, and also Canada Water as a place to live in. So that's why I'm really excited to show it off to you guys today. And hopefully this video can be especially helpful to those of you who are watching because you are first year King's students and you're wondering if Canada Water is a nice place to live in. It is. Or if you're just a London uni student in general, because you don't actually have to be a King's student or a first year to live here. Unlike some KCL residences, it's not owned by King's, it's owned by Scape, who do loads of student halls across the UK, and a lot in London especially. So Canada Water at least is split into two different blocks. There's block A, which is for any London uni student, and then there's block B, which is specifically for King's students and like, I guess basically all first years, because as a King's student you can go back into King's residences in later years, but priority is given to first years, so it's like really unlikely that you'll get a space. But anyways, that could be a whole other video topic, so I'm not going to get into that. But yeah, hopefully it's useful for you guys. I'm actually moving out tomorrow as of when I'm filming this, so this is pretty emotional, but I also hope that this video can be a good send-off to Canada Water. The video is going to be split up into sections, so as always feel free to look in the description for the timestamps if you want to skip about to a specific bit. First up, I'm going to be showing the building and all the extra amenities that it comes with. I'll show you my room as it is now, so you can get an idea of what it's like when it's lived in. Then we'll move on to the flat kitchen, and then finally I'll be inserting a quick video of my room once it's all packed up and empty, so it'll look how it would look if you were to move into it, and hopefully that will give you maybe a clearer picture of what the space actually is going to look like for you. And so without further ado, let's just get straight into the tour itself. Alright, so we're going to be starting off by taking a look at the accommodation building and all the stuff it has to offer. The laundry room is up first, where I did many a 1 AM laundry session because there are only like 6 washing machines and 6 dryers for the entirety of Block B, which as you'll see in a bit isn't small by any means. To be honest, I didn't really care that much because of all the issues I could have had. That's definitely one of the more favourable ones, but you might disagree. Also, it's run by Circuit Laundry. I didn't experience anything bad with them myself, but some friends from other unis did, so I felt like that was worth noting. Moving out of there, you come to the common room, which I love. There were tons of good Resi Life events held here, and especially during exam season, everybody comes here to study, so there were always just good vibes in here. It's the central hub, so it's connected to the laundry room that we just saw, the main 24/7 reception, the gym, the bins, and the courtyard. So in fact, here's a list of all the other stuff that I didn't get videos or photos of that are at Canada Water that count as amenities. You can use all the facilities no matter which block you're staying in. The cinema and library are the main things in Block A. I didn't really use a lot of the stuff over there except for the cinema room, which was class, but their common room and library did look really nice. So when you walk out of the common room in Block B, you come to the central courtyard, which I do love, but it has the infamous basketball court. And I say infamous because I'm not kidding when I say someone was literally always playing basketball, and 50% of the time it would be at like midnight during winter, so I have no idea what that was about. But the issue is my room was one of these courtyard facing rooms on the 3rd floor, and it was still pretty loud, so I just can't imagine what it must have been like to be living on the ground floor. But yeah, so that was a brief look around at the building itself, and now let's get on to a tour of my actual flat. Okay, here we are at the front door of flat 302. The first thing I want to point out is that every flat here is slightly different, / my flat is probably one of the most spacious ones because it's designed to be able to accommodate a wheelchair user. For example, room 302.1 is massive. The girl in my flat who lived there booked it and didn't even realise she was going to get a room accommodated for a disabled user, which I don't even know how that happened, but
Yeah, that's why our flat is much bigger than others. The other thing which differentiates the flats is the colour scheming. So as you can see from the walls of mine, our one is green, but there's also blue, which I would have loved to have, but it's okay. Green is second best because there's also red and yellow, and I think that's it. Our neighbours had yellow, and on the left is a sneaky picture I took through the fire door that connects our flats. And I'm sorry, but it is too bright and jarring and odd, so that's another reason why flat 302 is on top. The colour scheme appears all throughout the flat, as you'll see, and this might not be a big deal to you, but it would have been a big deal to me. If the interior colour palette isn't a deciding factor for you, but acoustics are, then you're going to want to get a room like mine at the far end of the corridor, because it means that any noise from the kitchen is going to be only barely audible to you. These things on the wall are meant to be soundproofing stuff, but I don't think they really worked because you can hear everything, and I mean everything, the person in the room next to you is doing. That's another reason why having a room on the end is good, because you're only next to one other person. I thought I got a video of me opening the door to my room, 302.4, but I must have accidentally deleted it, so get ready for the most abrupt and anticlimactic transition into a room tour ever in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so when you walk in, there are 2 coat pegs here with this super tall radiator and this little space here where I kept my vacuum and rucksack. And then you've got the beautiful desk, which is the love of my life because there's so much space to work at. Everyone else in the flat got a desk lamp and I didn't, but luckily I brought one of my own, so that was okay. Above that you have a shelf, and also you can see the desk to ceiling pin board, which is great. Then you've got the bedside table and a light for the room that you can turn off from in bed, which is so nice. And also the best invention I've ever seen is this reading light which swivels and rotates everywhere. Love that. Tons of space inside the bedside table with the 3/4 bed which lifts up for more storage, more shelves, and this end part which my display is sitting on, which actually also lifts up. I didn't ever use it because I didn't need it since there was already enough space, but it was cool to have. The wardrobe is inside of the 2 doors on the right, and when I first moved in, I had bought those hangers that can hold multiple hangers because I expected to not be able to fit all my clothes in, but as with the rest of the room, so much space is in here and I never had to use them. The black hanging storage thing is something I brought from home, and that did help, to be fair, so I recommend bringing something similar, but I think I still would have been fine without it. Also, I don't really own a ton of clothes, but it's also not capsule size either, so hopefully my experience is an average testimony which can apply to the majority of people. Here I'm just showing what it looks like when you turn on the main lights, and then you've also got the main bathroom light next to it, and this little circular button is blue most of the time, but when you press it, it turns off, and that actually means you've just activated the towel rack to start heating up, which is a very cool extra feature. And so here we have the ensuite. I really love it because it's no bigger than it needs to be, and it still has tons of storage space hidden, just like the bedroom. The shower pressure is kind of mid, but it's really good when it comes to temperature. In terms of what came with the bathroom, the only things were the toilet cleaner and the tiny little shower caddy, but everything else, like the bin, the mat, and the containers, are my own. There's also this washing line which comes out of this shelf, which I actually did use a fair bit when I couldn't be bothered to pay for drying, especially when I'd already been waiting 40 minutes for the washing at 1 AM. This photo is what the bathroom looks like when it's just the motion sensor lights on, so it's a bit darker than with the main lights, but I rarely turn those on unless I was having a shower because otherwise I'd get jump scared when I was suddenly left in the pitch black. Now that we've seen both the bedroom and the ensuite, we're going to move on to the flat kitchen. I did try to clean the kitchen before I filmed this, and then I sort of gave up halfway, but so this is like a semi-realistic look at what the shared kitchen normally looks like. This is the part of the flat which makes it different from the average flat in Canada Water from what I've heard. We have so much more space and we get this breakfast bar, whereas it's normally a regular kitchen table. And we also have this extra mini fridge, but we actually turned off the power and my flatmate used it as a shelving unit for her stuff. So I don't know how other flats got by without this extra space. Then you've got the induction hobs, and you have to press this button on the wall at intervals if you want to use the hobs, otherwise they'll turn off, which was really annoying at first, but then the Scape maintenance team made the intervals last longer, so it was okay. One cool feature about the kitchen is that all the counters are heat proof. That's really handy. And then in terms of storage, a lot of my flatmates had to keep their stuff in their rooms and bring it into the kitchen when they needed it, but I got so lucky and found this huge drawer beneath the microwave which nobody else had noticed, and I got to keep my stuff in here. This was one of my best moments of first year, finding this drawer, not gonna lie. And then everyone gets a cupboard here as well. There's this random one big cupboard and also a spare smaller one, weirdly. They're okay, but I still ended up keeping a lot of dry foods in my room because I wouldn't always have enough space in these. So having now gone through a tour of my room and the kitchen, here is a video of my room after I moved all my stuff out, which is so sad to see, but at least it can give you a good look at what your room could very well look like if you decide to live here. Some last minute random but important points I want to add in are that A, I never once saw a single spider or bug in my room, which as someone with a major phobia of any insect ever was one of the best things about my room. And B, the other thing you might have been thinking was that if you get a courtyard facing room like mine, can't you see into everyone else's rooms? In the daytime, it's not really an issue because the sunlight makes the windows look really opaque and stuff, but at nighttime, if your lights are on, obviously it's really easy to see into someone else's room, so you just kind of have to be strategic with the blinds situation, which like 60% of the people here kept their blinds down 24/7, which I personally could never do, but yeah, it's really not as big a deal as you might think.
And that brings us to the end of the tour. So I really hope you guys enjoyed seeing where I lived for my first year at uni. I really loved living here and I'm gonna miss it so much next year. Even though some people at the start were having issues with it being a completely new building and everything, I personally somehow didn't experience any of that. So I was just having a great time from the start. I'd 100% recommend Canada Water to live in if you are a fresher or even if you're just a London uni student looking for somewhere to live. Canada Water is the place to be. Whilst this video was a look at the residence itself, I'm also going to be making a second video which is going to be more focused on Canada Water as a place to live in and what that's like, and how I found living in London for the first time ever as a first year uni student. So hopefully that will also be helpful and you guys can look forward to that one. But other than that, that is everything for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it and I will hopefully see you all in the next one. Bye guys!